Hi, seniors. This is Miss Winquist, the College and Career Counselor at Aloha High School, and I wanted to share a few minutes about how to understand your college financial aid offer, which is also known as your award letter. You might be wondering, what is a financial aid offer or award letter anyways? Well, it's something that's sent to you from each school that you have applied to, assuming that you've done your FAFSA or ORSA already. If you haven't done your FAFSA or ORSA, you won't receive any financial aid, as that is how colleges and universities base their award letters from. So what you will receive from each school is an estimated cost of attendance, your estimated family contribution, which is also known as your EFC, any grants, scholarships, or loans that you qualify for. So here's the plan in our time together this morning. We will go over the timeline, how it works, what it looks like, and a cost comparison, so you can make your ultimate decision of where you want to go. So what is the timeline for receiving financial aid offers or award letters? You as seniors should be receiving these right now from the colleges and universities that you have applied to. During March and April, you will be given those because it is College Decision Day, May 1st. So all seniors need to have your final decision for where you will head next year by May 1st. We will be watching clips of a video from a workshop that happened for Beaverton School District students last week. And some of you may have attended that hour-long presentation, and I'm just going to be including some of the top gems that were included in their presentation, but you will receive access if you want to watch the entire hour-long presentation through the Canvas Class of 2021 page. So how does the financial aid offer award letter work?
So let's talk a little bit about the financial aid offer. So ideally, there are a couple things. Most schools will not provide you with a financial aid offer until you've, number one, been admitted. So hopefully you've gone through the admissions process. You've been admitted to the university, and then you've completed any aid application that might be required of the university. Most commonly, this is going to be the free application for federal student aid, or it's referred to as the FAFSA. All schools have to use the FAFSA to determine a student's eligibility for federal student aid. And so almost every school will require that application for, at a minimum, determining eligibility for federal student aid. It's also used to determine, for many states, determine eligibility for state aid. For instance, here in the state of Oregon, the Oregon Opportunity Grant is, eligibility for that is based on the information you provide on your FAFSA. And then many schools also use it to determine eligibility for their own institutional aid programs. And so they're asking you to submit the FAFSA so that it covers all of those. Now, occasionally a school may require what we in the world of financial aid refer to as a supplemental aid application. They may ask you to complete an additional aid application beyond the FAFSA in order to consider you for their own institutional aid. This is why it's important to be looking at each school and knowing exactly what you need to do to apply for aid. But assuming you've done all the steps, the next part of the process is to receive a financial aid offer. And if you think of offer as kind of the umbrella term, and then on the offer are going to be some various components. And one of those components will be the awards that you've been awarded or offered, the individual kinds of aid programs that you're eligible to receive funding through. So how will you receive your financial aid offer? Well, schools will distribute financial aid offers in various methods. Most commonly now, we see a lot of awards being delivered electronically. Most universities and colleges have their own information systems within the institution, that have a component of that system that acts like a student portal, where you're able to actually access your financial aid information in an electronic format. Usually you have to have credentials, have established some kind of credentials at the institution so that you can log in, because of course, these are secure systems. And so usually typically through the admissions process, you're provided with that information that allows you to establish your access to the university's information system. It's also still pretty common from colleges and universities to distribute, at least to entering students, to provide them with a physical hard copy award letter or award offer. Sometimes you'll hear financial aid offer, sometimes you'll hear it called financial aid award letter, award notification, kind of all those titles are reflective of the same thing, a financial aid offer. So sometimes as an entering student, it's fairly common for colleges and universities to provide entering students with a physical copy of at least their initial award letter. And then any subsequent revisions are delivered electronically. And typically for continuing students, it's really common for a continuing student to receive their award in an electronic format. Usually you get an email that tells you your award letter is ready to be viewed, and then you can go to the university's information system in order to review that. Here at PSU, we refer to that as your PSU BandWeb account, and that's where students are able to view all of their financial aid information. In order to receive in order to log into that system here at PSU, students have to have established what we know as their ODIN account. So what will you see on a financial aid offer? Like, what kind of information is on a financial aid offer? Well, I will tell you that there's no standard format. Okay, so award offers, financial aid offers, or award notifications come in a variety, all shapes and sizes, just like there are all shapes and sizes of universities and colleges. But there are some key elements that you probably want to be looking for on an award letter. One of them is the cost of attendance budget. And this is an estimated budget. We'll talk about this a little more in depth in a moment. But the cost of attendance budget is a really important component to be aware of. The awards, the individual aid programs that you're receiving funding from, both the name of the program, but also the amount of funding that you're receiving, both for the year, but also by term or by semester, depending on the type of institution or the academic calendar of the institution you're enrolling at. And then the expected or estimated family contribution is another important component. And we'll talk also about that in a moment and more in depth about what that means. But those are kind of the three common. One other element that's can often appear on a financial aid offer that's important to be aware of is the kind of the statuses or some of the assumptions that are made about your determining your eligibility. Are you going to live on campus or off campus? Are you a resident student or a non-resident student if you're attending a school like a public university that has tuition rates that are
Okay, so that's a little bit about how it works. And, oops, what does a award letter look like? Here are the different elements.
This is actually an example from here at Portland State of our electronic financial aid offer. So what students are able to view here at Portland State. And as you can see, there are these components that I talked about, right? There's the cost of attendance budget, which we see over here on the right. We have the housing status, right? And the housing status kind of informs one of those components of the cost of attendance budget. We also have the need calculation, where we see the estimated family contribution. We see the total cost of attendance. We see the estimated family contribution, which is the kind of, I often say this is the super secret formula in financial aid. We have the cost of attendance minus the estimated family contribution equals the demonstrated financial need of the student, or what's showing here as initial need. And then at the bottom, we see the financial aid award. This is, again, these individual awards that the student has been, that we've determined the student is eligible to receive. And we're showing that because PSU is a quarter-based school or a term-based school, we're showing that the funds, while on the far right, we can see the total for the year, we're actually also showing how it distributes across the terms. Okay, again, not every award is going to look like this. This is specific to Portland State, but it does have, my guess is that, in my experience, is that most award notifications are going to have these various components. And if you receive an award notification that doesn't have these components, these are all important pieces of information for you to be aware of. This is
Okay, so now I wanted to show you what a comparison would look like. So you'll see Portland State University, PCC, or Portland Community College, and University of Portland, which is a private college in downtown Portland. So the tuition and fees is across the top, and these are direct expenses. You will be billed for these expenses, and any financial aid that you receive goes to cover your tuition and fees first. If you live on campus, then you will also have their estimated housing and meal plan. However, if you are living at home and commuting or living off campus, everything under tuition and fees are called indirect expenses. So you might, it's very popular to shop for your books online. And get them for cheaper that way, or even renting your books. You can get your own housing and cook your own food, so that's variable. Transportation, it'll just totally vary. If you need to pay for daily parking on your campus, or if you'll be taking the MAX or public transportation, you will want to calculate that into your budget. And then, of course, any other personal expenses that you have. So the estimated costs are all of these combined to which make the cost of attendance. However, the tuition and fees are your direct expenses. And then everything below that could be potentially indirect expenses that just come out of your pocket. Or they're covered by maybe some private scholarships that you may have earned. So now what? We recommend that you make a cost comparison worksheet.
What we're showing here is kind of a cost comparison worksheet that we here at Portland State, we encourage students and their families to think about doing something like this as they're comparing financial aid offers and kind of comparing the cost at various institutions. To just make yourself a worksheet like this and list out the schools. What are each of those cost components? You may want to think about, is that realistic? Transportation is one of those items that you want to kind of think about, particularly if you're considering an out-of-state institution. What is it going to take for you to get back and forth to school? What is that cost going to be associated with that? The other thing is tuition and fees. If you are particularly looking at a public institution where resident, non-resident, or in-state, out-of-state tuition is the tuition rate is based on your classification. Out-of-state tuition is much more expensive than in-state tuition. So if you're looking at a school, a public school that is out of state, you want to take into account that as a non-resident student or an out-of-state student, your tuition charges are going to be higher than a student than a student who may be an in-state student. What we're showing here is
All right, so that is all I have for you. If you need more information, again, you are welcome to watch the whole 1 hour YouTube video of the workshop from last week that is available on the Class of 2021 Canvas page, or you can also email Mrs. Brennan or myself for an appointment. And we are happy to sit down with you individually or with you and your parents to look at your different financial aid award letters, or if you have put it into a chart, kind of ask questions and just check for understanding and try and answer any questions as best we can. So that's it, warriors. Good luck with your college decisions, and please reach out if you have any questions. Take care.